What's up guys, it's your boy xContextx here bringing you another video. Today's video is the tips and tricks for beginning comp players. The gameplay you guys are going to be watching over it is a 3v3 UMG evac hardpoint. I picked this gameplay mainly because I go off as usual. And it's a sub-oriented map, so after I die on this first map, I think I switched to the sub, which you guys haven't seen yet on this channel. I think I've been pretty AR heavy. But then again, it's been mainly AR heavy maps. But yeah, let's get to the topic of the video. Beginning tips, I'm going to break it up into the first half will be ARs, the second half will be subs. I'm going to start off with these ARs. So tips for AR players is, first of all, your main job, we're going to be speaking about hardpoint on this video, will be to make sure you hold spawn and anchor. Now anchoring basically just means you want to get to hills before they actually rotate there. So it's your job to memorize where the hills are and what spots are good for you to hold so your team spawns nearby. You can continuously select the hill. Now the best way to know where you should be rotating is just practice. Go on a private match and find out where the rotations are and then how you want your team to spawn there. And then once you know where everything is, you get into 8th or arena games and practice. Really is the best thing you can do with almost anything in Call of Duty. But once you know where you're supposed to be anchoring, the next important thing is kills. As an AR, you're supposed to be the lead slayer on your team most of the time, unless you're on a really sub-oriented map. So you want to make sure you have a weapon that can do what needs to be done. So as far as ARs go in this game, they're really balanced, so you can use a wide variety of them. But of course, the most common is the M8 and the XR2 being the burst fires. UMG you can't use high caliber rapid fire, but you can in CWL. So depending on which, I guess, host you're playing on or which site you're playing on will determine what you're allowed to use and what you're not allowed to use. But I mean, you can never go wrong with a like I use ELO quick draw or ELO stock and long barrel on my M8, but it's ELO versus red dots completely up to the individual. It really is personal preference. Some people don't like stock on their ARs, I personally do. Some people would rather want quick draw, and long barrel is just always really good because it doubles your range on ARs. But with other ARs, it just depends on the map really. Some maps benefit guns like the Man of War and the HVK and the ICR, which I like better with rapid fire, but you can't choose that in UMG, so really it's just personal preference. As far as equipment goes, in Black Ops 2, it was usually the AR player who would carry trophy systems. However, in this game, I think it's a lot better for your subs to carry it because they're the ones that are in the hill and constantly getting naded. So I would leave things like stuns and flashbangs, the ARs. They could throw them into the hill to help out the subs. And specialist use for AR players, I recommend things like the War Machine, Scythe, Tempest, Sparrow, long range things so they can keep their anchor and use it to break hills from the outside instead of having to push in. And perks, pretty standard. I use flak, fast hands, attack mask, so I can not take too much damage from nades and I can stuff any tactical that comes my way. Now I guess we'll move over to subs, since that basically covers all the basic ARs. The number one rule of sub players is you want to be really aggressive. Look at all the best sub players in the game right now. Attach, Zuma, Stumpy, etc. They're all really aggressive, in your face all the time. So pushing out of hills with subs is just as big as anchoring with ARs. If someone is in the hill and you spawn up behind them and they have a sub, they should push out so you get in the hill. You continuously get that time and you continuously keep the pressure up. Now if you're in the hill and someone spawns behind you and you have a sub, you should push out the front or whichever angle needs to be pushed out and your teammate will get in the hill. It's called flooding, and that's what you really need to do in hardpoint to keep up with your team. Now if you're not confident in your sub shot, then you better get confident, because really where you need to be in this last couple CODs, sub players have really become more important. And a lot of teams are running more subs. Now as far as sub weapon choice, I would suggest if you're playing UMGs, the Vesper is always a good option as a pelt machine. If you're playing CWO and it gets banned, the VMP is everyone's second favorite choice. Now if rapid fire is in use, I like using Sparrow, and if it's not, I'd prefer using Fuda as far as those two. I don't ever think, probably will never end up grabbing a Weevil unless it gets a massive buff. No disrespect to the Weevil, of course, though. I know a lot of people like pub stomping with it. Attachments depends on the individual. Quick draw grip long barrel is usually the way to go for most players, but some people want stock so they can peek around corners, and some people like rapid fire or laser sight, so it really just depends. Find what you're comfortable with. The Vesper does have a lot of kicks, so I use grip on all my Vesper classes. And some of my other subs I replace grip with stock so I can peek corners a little bit easier. Specialist use, I think that sub players should use more close range specialists and a lot more abilities. Things like Heat Wave and stuff, since they'll be in hill, and Psychosis to freak out the enemy or to get easy pushes into hill. If you're using lethal stuff like the Annihilator that you can use in hill is a really good option. Just anything that you can use at a close range and not get killed really quickly. Really good for subs since they're going to be breaking and protecting hills. As far as tacticals, like I said, they should run the trophy systems. They should also be running the nades if they're playing a team that's running a bunch of tac masks and nades aren't working. So trophies and nades for sub players, always a good bargain. And perks are almost the same. I think that if you're not going to be using, you should always use tac since you'll be in hill, but if you have trophies, you have 3 subs and they all have trophies, you could probably bypass using tac mask and replace it with Gun Hose, and you can slide around and be a little bit more aggressive. You could run something like Afterburner, Fast Hands, Gun Hole, and just fly at kids. Afterburner is really good on subs to get around the map quickly. And that's your basic sub versus AR weapons and all this that goes along with it. This is all for respawn though. I'll make a separate video for S&D or uplink probably in the near future. But hardpoint being the first map in most rotations, probably the most important to cover, even though S&D's played twice in most best of 5s. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video and that the information was good. You guys let me know what type of video you want to see next. If you want an in-detailed video of where you should rotate on all the hard points or S&D spots to play and where to get your shots down on uplink, let me know and I'll gladly post those for you. Besides the live commentary, tomorrow I'm going to try to bring you guys a guest feature and maybe a little highlight reel of just me going off as usual. I'll see what happens. But yeah, this game's coming to an end and I'm 32-19 right now, going off. The kids we were playing, ATA, they had a pretty good UMG record actually, but I guess we blew them out of the water on this one. My teammates are really sub-oriented, and I used to be pretty sub-oriented, so maps like this really go in our favor. We're the type of team that was really good at like Detroit Hardpoint because it was so sub-oriented AW. But yeah, I'll let this video close out. If you guys enjoyed it, so like, comment, subscribe, and that's a wrap. xContextx signing out.
Hardpoint locked down. Hardpoint contested. Hardpoint contested. Hardpoint contested. Hardpoint identified. Hardpoint locked down. Hardpoint contested. Friendly xContextx deployed. Hardpoint lost. Hardpoint is ours. Disregarding.